In 1990, the gaming landscape was absolutely dominated by Mario. Sega needed a miracle. They had the Genesis/Mega Drive, a powerful 16-bit machine, but it desperately lacked an identity. The answer? A rule-breaking blue hedgehog. But hold on, back then, platformers focused on speed and item collection were flooding the market. The industry was saturated. The fierce console wars against Nintendo were at their peak, and the original Sonic the Hedgehog couldn't just be another game, it had to be the game. Yet, 3 decades, dozens of games, and even major Hollywood movies later, the franchise is still going strong. Why? What is the hidden secret in that first 1991 Adventures code that transformed it into a cultural phenomenon? In today's video, we're diving deep into the original Sonic the Hedgehog. We'll find out what made him more than just a Mario clone and how he cemented the Mega Drive's legacy forever. Grab your rings, hit start, because the definitive retro analysis is about to begin. The game's premise is simple yet powerful. The main villain, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman to the purists, is capturing innocent animals on South Island to power his robot army of badniks. Our blue hero's mission is clear: save the critters and stop the mad scientist. But what makes Sonic a hero and not just another captured animal? The answer, of course, is his speed. According to the game's manual, Sonic runs at the speed of sound, hence the name. That's about 1,235 kilometers or 770 miles per hour. Can you imagine this little blue animal outrunning a commercial jet? Sega certainly could, at least in a few key stages. We'll get into that distinction very soon. Rings are your lifeline. Holding just one ring turns any damage into a near miss, making you spill your precious gold circles. Without one, it's instant death. The controls are intuitive, the basis of Sega's success. You run, jump, and attack, all with a single button. Simple and accessible. The visual trick that truly revolutionized the game was how Sonic's sprite interacted with the environment. Sega used an innovative technique to let Sonic roll perfectly along slopes and curves, creating a feeling of physics never before seen. This, combined with the springs, high drops, and signature vertical loops, instantly transformed the platforming genre. A crucial detail for fans, the spin dash, the ability to rev up his roll while standing still, does not exist in this first game. You can only start rolling when you are already in motion, either in the air or running on the ground. This limitation drastically changes how you approach the level design. The level design is a mixed bag between moments of pure speed and others of puzzle solving. Both are riddled with spikes, moving platforms, and those iconic badnik robots to destroy and free the animals. Then there's the dreaded drowning mechanic in the water stages. Believe it or not, this game makes you fear water more than lava. But the true chase was for the Chaos Emeralds. To access them, you need skill and greed. Finish Act 1 or Act 2 with 50 rings or more, and a secret giant ring will appear. Entering it takes you to the special stage, or the secret zone as the original manual called it. It's a trippy, rotating labyrinth where you are constantly spinning, trying to avoid the red goal blocks to reach the ultimate prize, the Chaos Emerald. Collecting all 6 emeralds not only grants you the true ending, but is the first taste of the power that would go on to define the franchise. And no, that's not a script error. There are only 6 emeralds in Sonic 1. The 7th, along with Super Sonic, only debuted in Sonic 2. No Super Saiyan Hedgehog here. Speaking briefly about the stages, as I mentioned, we have 2 distinct types. The first type is focused on speed, namely Green Hill, Spring Yard, and Starlight City. These stages feature numerous loops and high-speed downhill runs where you fully exploit Sonic's rolling form. These are the game's highlight, and I dare say Sonic is what he is today because he managed to deliver that feeling of pure adrenaline right in his first level. I genuinely wonder if the game would have been as successful if the first stage had been Marble Zone, Labyrinth, or Scrap Brain. It's not that these are bad levels, on the contrary, they offer a good level of challenge, but they are simply less memorable than the speed-focused zones. That's because we associate Sonic's essence with speed, and that's not the case here. And since we are discussing the levels, I need to make a quick observation. I often hear that Sonic 1 is a short game because it only has 6 zones, but that is far from the truth. People who say this forget that each of the 6 zones has 3 acts. That gives us a total of 18 acts, not counting the final boss. When compared to the other Sonic games on the Mega Drive, the first installment is actually the longest in terms of number of acts. Of course, the levels are simpler and more repetitive than the sequels, which gives the impression that the game is short, but it definitively is not. Sonic 1 isn't brutally difficult, but if this isn't your first game in the series, you might notice some difficulty spikes, especially in the 4th and 6th zones. Lives are scarce, and there is no Super Sonic to bail you out, so I classify this game as the most difficult in the classic Mega Drive franchise and perhaps the hardest of the 2D Hedgehog games. We need to take a moment to talk about the bosses, and here, to be truly honest, there was a lack of inspiration. The bosses are simple and lack major challenges. The exception is the Labyrinth Zone boss, but he's not difficult on his own. The difficulty comes from fighting him during a forced underwater climbing sequence. Even so, Sega could have shown more creativity with these encounters. I still need to make a video ranking all of the classic bosses. Finally, we reach the music. The Sega Genesis is not known for having the best sound chip. In fact, many games have loud, grating, and sometimes annoying audio, but the Sonic games are always the exception to this rule. The music is great and proved that it was possible to work with the Sega Genesis sound chip if the team knew what they were doing. The first title doesn't have music as instantly memorable as its sequels, perhaps with the exception of the iconic Green Hill Zone theme, but it was certainly responsible for associating Sonic not only with speed, but with an excellent soundtrack. With all that said, what is my final verdict on the game? It's quite clear that Sonic is a high-quality game, both for its time and today. However, in my opinion, it doesn't quite deliver as much as its successors. This isn't a flaw, as successors are expected to improve, not regress. Well, maybe we should just forget that Sonic Forces was released, right? In any case, I think a fair score for this game is an 8.8 out of 10, considering it paved the way for excellent evolution, but had a few evident areas for improvement, such as progression pacing and boss design. But what about you? Was my assessment fair? What do you think? As always, leave your experiences with the first Sonic game down below. Was it capable of carving out a special place in your heart for our favorite blue blur? Let me know in the comments. Big hug, and I'll see you in the next video.